Alright guys, today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be replacing the voltage regulator that's hidden back here on this ski. I have been having a no charge issue with the ski. First thing I did was I went through and I replaced the starter connector down here, right there. I put a new end on it and got rid of the burnt wires, which you guys seen in one of my previous videos. These wires don't matter where you hook them up as long as you put them back in a plug somewhere. So I got that good there because there's corrosion in there. It was all screwed up. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the voltage regulator, which is hidden back here, which I showed you in one of my other videos. But first, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get this battery out of here and get this out of the way, so then I can get to the voltage regulator and have some area to work. It was screwed up, so I went through on Amazon and I bought one of these made in China regulators. Hopefully it will work. It looks like the OEM, but it has an aluminum backing instead of where the OEM is filled, so I don't know how long this will last or how good it will work. But hopefully it'll work good enough for us to get it charging and make sure everything else is good. So this is, of course, a project ski. I'm not trying to spend a ton of money on it to get it running to go from there. But as you can see, this came with the regulator and then new connectors and pins and all that. So we're gonna put them in and hopefully fix that. Okay guys, we got the battery out, so now we can move this around hopefully, and we can get to where the voltage regulator is, like so. And there we go. Now we can get to the connections on the voltage regulator and we can pull the voltage regulator off, as you guys can see, and I'll go through and we can change it all. Let me just show you guys the connections on this. So as you can see, this one's melted and it's all full of corrosion. And this one, it looks like it's got corrosion in it too. And now let me show you guys the inside of the connectors here, if I can get into position to show you guys. As you can see, the corrosion in them. Let me use this to point to. Corrosion in there, there and there. And it's all green, So we're gonna go ahead and just put the new one on there and the new ends on there and hopefully fix this issue, and this issue in one shot, and we'll be charging. All right guys, we're back at it. I had to move the ski inside because it started raining and I waited for the rain to clear. So now we're back at it. So what you got to do now is take your voltage regulator and we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this old one off. You got one screw there and then you got a clip to hold it. So we can pull these connectors back out and we're just going to go ahead and pull this off. You just take your Phillips, unscrew your screw from there. We're gonna just set our screwdriver off over to the side, and then we can pull this off like so. Ooh, look at that. Must be a cheap one, because this is not an original Seadoo one. So, because the original Seadoos didn't have the blue on it like this does. They were sealed from the bottom. So this must be a cheap one. Maybe the guys had it failed before and changed it. So this is just a cheap China one. This is definitely not an original Seadoo one. I didn't know that. But now we know what might have happened. Maybe he bought the same one that I bought, and maybe he changed the connectors. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. So we're going to go ahead and change these now. All right, guys, what I did is I want to pop this connector apart so I can pull it apart and go from there. What you can do is you can put your screw, you can take a small screwdriver, put it in there between them, pop one side, pop the middle, and then work back and forth until you can get it. And then go like that and pop it, okay? Pop the inner part of the connector out. Not that you need to, because we're replacing it. If you want to just cut it here, you can. But I like to keep my cables as long as I can. So, and then when you do that, you can take this, you can go down in there, you see that tab, you get that tab hopefully, and when you undo that tab, Might work a little bit better with a pick. As you're doing it, pull the cable back. And then you can go ahead and pull the insulation piece back. It looks like they're actually crimped in it. So these must be the factory Seadoo ones, I think. Well, no, these look like they get crimped in there too. So, but you can do that. So that way you can get them out. And if you really wanted to keep the wire lengths the same, you could take a cutoff wheel, like a Dremel or something, and cut the side of the terminal there and do it. But I'm not too worried about that because I want to strip and have clean wire. So I'm just going to cut it with my pair of dikes right there. So I'm going to take my dikes and I'm just going to cut the end of the terminal off right there, like that. Like that. And I cut the terminal. So now I still got to get this off, this rest of this metal off. So, but actually I might just be able to slide it out like so. And that's what I'm going to do when I do them. So that way I can just strip this back and we can go from there. And let me do that and I'll show you guys. Okay. So now that I take that, I'm going to take my wire strippers. I'm going to take them and strip the wire. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get a nice clean cut. The wires, it is what it is. So, and then you got that off there. Okay, you want to look at the wire itself to make sure it's not all corroded up. Before you crimp it, we're going to take one of these and shove that down on there because that's a sealing bootie. We're going to take our new wire end, we're going to put it in there. So when doing these, it helps to have the crimpers that are like this, that are square with A and B on it, instead of your standard crimps. I mean, this is like your standard pair like this. They would probably work alright. I mean, you just got to make sure when you crimp it, you go like that. And then you can get a nice crimp on it for the non-insulated. But they work. The one pair will work alright, but I like these that are a little bit more square. I feel I just get a better crimp with them. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of get it set in there like so. You know, it's easier said than done sometimes. There we go. I'm gonna take this wire, get it in there like that. I'm just gonna go ahead and crimp it. So, and then I'm gonna slide this up and in there like how they had it on the other set of wires. Like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just crimp these like that too. Might need to use the other pliers to get this one started, just because of the size of the ends. Actually, my problem that I'm having right now is that getting them in there. So I'm just gonna pinch it a little bit, just to try to make it better. I might just hand bend them like that carefully, just because of the, just doesn't want to bend right. Get it started. And then we're gonna see if I can grab these, and when you do it, you gotta have the open part like that. See if I can get a nice pinch or a nice crimp on that wire, just to try to hold it and seal it, which sometimes is easier said than done. But that's about what you want to do. You want to make sure it's all pinched good and crimped good. So Give a good tug, it doesn't come off. Then we could take our new plug cap, and we're just gonna shove it up in there where it will lock, which will be, so you can see that tang there, it's gonna go there. So we're just gonna shove it up and in there, like so. Anyway, that's the idea. Like that. And you might have to take your screwdriver, see how this is getting caught, and just work that in. Which you might have to do. It would work maybe better if you had put some Dow Corning or Vaseline or something on the rubber just to help it slide. Dow Corning would be good because it's an electrical insulator. So now I got it in there, so I'm just going to push it the rest of the way in there, make sure I get a nice good seal, and hope it seals up good. So locked, it's not coming out. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of them, and I'll show you guys as I'm doing it. I figured I'd show this to you guys. This is probably one of the main reasons why it wasn't working. See how corroded up this connector is? This is the one here that melted the inside of it. You look at this, you can see it's all melted. I mean, it's just brittle as can be. Okay, and what happened is it got wet at some point and it corroded, okay? And when it corroded, it started building an excess of heat and it melted the connector. So that's probably the main one that was causing the issues with it not working, was this guy here. So it happens. I mean, it does have a seal in it, but you know, that was probably the main problem on what started everything, and why the connector inside got burned up, and then why the old connector got melted. So I forgot to just show that to you guys. Okay, now, this is one that does matter where the pin goes. Okay, so since I've only removed one pin at a time, it makes it easy. This is a 2-pin plug, middle hole is filled. Let's take our new plug. It goes that way, as you can see, release tab, release tab. I pulled that wire out. So let's shove that wire into that hole. And we'll get it locked. Just push it in there until we can get it locked, until it goes snap. Oops. Thought I had it snapped, I guess I didn't. So that's what you want to make sure, is that you do have them locked in there. Looks like it's about in there, but the pin just didn't go down. There we go. Pin is, thought the pin was down. I guess this one's being a little bit more difficult than the other ones, because the other ones are all locked in good, so I don't have to worry about pulling a pin out. But this one is just not locking in nicely, but you just got to push it in and play with it, and then it'll eventually lock in. And I guess when you put the other clip in there, it also holds it in more. So there we go. That seems better. Make sure to put your other pin in there, and then see if you can pop this guy out. Should be able to pop it out. The filler, because my new kit didn't come with one of them. So I have to see if I can just pop it out somehow. There we go. Can get my screwdriver in there. I got that out. Just shoved my screwdriver down in the middle, and it came right out like so. Then we'll just take that and we'll just shove that in there to fill it. So that way we can keep water out of the plug. Done. So let's go ahead and unpop this one, pull this one out, and we'll connect it up like we did the other one. Now I will make one mention. I had this one black wire that just didn't want to get caught. And what I had to do was, I'll show you guys on an old plug. The old plugs are like that, okay? And when you look at it from the side view, it would be straight like that. Well, apparently the plug was bent like that. I had to bend it, tweak it up. And once I did that, it stays and it's locking in good now. So just as a FYI, so you want to make sure they stay and lock in good. I mean, they're not worth a damn if they come out. So you want to make sure they lock in good. These caps here, all they do is just go down. You hear them click, and they're locked. So now we got that in there. And like I said, make sure to put your blank in there. So now we got new ends on there with new ends that are in there that aren't all green and corroded up from saltwater use. So now we can go ahead and we can take the new voltage regulator and take it and install it into the holder like so. Make sure it's locked in there good. We can take the screw that was holding it, which kind of held it in there, take that screw and just put it back in there for what it's worth. I don't know, but we'll find out. We'll see if I can get it back in there, if I can. There we go. So just screw your screw back in, like so, to hold that so it doesn't come off. And then let's take this harness, and we're gonna take the 3-wire one and put it on the 3-wire plug. We're gonna take the black one and put it on the black one. It might be a little bit tight going on. There we go. It seems to have snapped in, I believe. And then let's take this one. Push that one on. Sorry, I'm blocking it. Just, they're tight. Everything's new. And there we go. Now we got voltage regulator in. We got new ends in there. And I'm going to go ahead and put everything back in so we could try it. You don't knock everything off the mounts here. It just slides back in. So we can kind of set this off to the side. I can go get the battery. I can put the battery back down and bolt it back in. Again, guys, generally when you attach the batteries, you attach them on the top. Problem is this terminal here is stripped out, and I really don't feel like getting a new battery. And the only other way to fix it is to go find a smaller bolt and nut. And this works all right. It's not the right way of putting the battery back in this thing, but it works. When I put the battery back in, I had the bolts that bolted down to the hole sitting in the trays, just so then I can drop it in and use them to kind of align it, because the holes are recessed a little bit. Now somehow this is supposed to, I think, hook onto this tray, I think, but I'm not really sure. Mine wasn't, but I think it's supposed to hook onto the battery tray somehow and stay on there. So you got little holes in it, but I really don't know how that's supposed to work. These things are screwed up, so I don't know. But I think it's supposed to, but that's okay. We'll figure that out later. Let me go find a multimeter, put that on it, and I'll push this key outside some so I can run it. Okay, guys, as you can see, I got the voltmeter hooked up. That is currently the battery voltage that I have. It should be more, but the batteries run down some. So we're gonna go ahead and hook up the key. We got the hose hooked up ready. So all I gotta do is run over and hit the turn on the hose if it's charging. So let's get this coming on. I got my 2 beeps.